Well, hello, Watch fam. I am David Vaucher. This is another one in our series of Chronopolis 2026 entries. And today, I'm very happy, as always, to be talking French watchmaking with what some might call one of the standard bearers of French watches, that is Serica. So I'm very happy to be joined by Mr. Jérôme Burguer and Gabriel Vachette. How are you both doing today?
Very good. Thank you.
Fantastic. So Serica, it is a brand that I think a lot of people in the watch community may know at this point, but if they don't, what is Serica and what does it represent for you?
Serica, basically, I just want to say that we founded the company in 2019, so it's been a while. We're still a very young and independent watch brand, obviously, but we keep on doing what we strive for, and this is precisely to create watches that are modern, but that are to us that create some magic. And this is for a watch enthusiast that we are, obviously. To us, it expresses itself into creating watches that blend elegance with performance, but most importantly, in a very singular design language. Our idea here is obviously not to recreate the past, is to learn from the past and then trying to express ourselves in a very creative, personal way, I would say. So every single Serica watch is, I think, unique by its design, refined by its material and finishings and design and proportions, but also very performant. All the watches are obviously Swiss-made, fully automatic. Most of them are chronometer certified. Some of them come with an entire magnetic construction. Blah, 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 the good stuff, as I used to say, real watches. Yes, that's what we do.
And Gabriel, so what are your thoughts in it, and what's your role within the company in getting Serica off the ground and also continuing on its trajectory?
Founded the brand in 2019, as Jerome said, and we have two different roles. We obviously work together every day, every single weekend. Basically, we see each other a lot since this past 7 years almost. I'm more in charge of basically growing the company in terms of business, in terms of organization. I it's mostly a CEO job. We share the whole marketing communication work together as well. We also like to create content ourselves. We've been working in the watch industry for many years before creating Serica, and we've been used to let's say, highlight watches from others. And of course, what we do also, we're trying to do it the best way possible. And we love creating, uh, concepts, image, and trying to make those watches shine the best way possible. And we try to master it by ourselves. So basically, we work together. Jerome is more on the product side. I'm trying to handle the growth of the company. We started together with only the two of us at the very beginning. Now we have a team of almost 12 to 13 people. We have a boutique in Paris since a few years now. Watchmakers in house, and yeah, a big team growing. It's a great adventure, and we try to keep up the good work.
So I'm gonna start with or continue with a piece of trivia, and I hope I'm right. But were you both part of the Javier blog at some?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
that's how we met actually.
So I'm a longtime fan of that blog. So great job to you
Cool.
guys for when you did that.
Thank you very much. It's another journey, but it helped us a lot in understanding the industry. It was a great way to be in contact with all the major player in this industry, and it was great 10 years of meeting all those people and trying on a lot of watches, as you may know, on the wrist. And it helps actually to understand what you like and what you sometimes don't like in watches. And that this is not 100% of the work of creating Serica, but I think it helped us to know exactly what we wanted.
by creating Serica.
Yeah. So I would say anyone out there listening, if you manage to meet Joam and Gabriel in person, it is clearly possible for someone to work on a watch blog and make the jump. And other people have since then, but I think you guys were some of the first to do it. So very happy to see it doing so well.
I think it's not so much about being like switching from one side to the other. It's somehow something very, how do I say that? Very logical in a way, like you first, you start like talking watches because you enjoy watches. And then you review, you photograph, you learn, you feel. And at some point when the true enthusiast, you try to understand why it works, why it doesn't. It's very easy to say, I don't like, but understanding why it was allows you maybe to take the next step into your own hands and do it I'd say in an educated way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you see, when you observe, when you try on like all the best watches that have been made in the past and today, the modern and the vintage, I don't know, like if you keep asking yourself those questions and trying to answer them honestly, not from a marketing point of view, not from a branding point of view, but from a watch, from a design standpoint, in a way, it's eventually you start understanding a few things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we did. Yeah.
I'm going to go off on a quick sidebar before I go back into Serica, but there is actually, or I don't know if it still exists, but there was a Hobby Off podcast. And a couple years ago, you invited
Yeah.
an architect on the show, and I forget his name, but
Jules Mini Deschamps.
that is the one. That is the one.
Yeah.
And for anyone who listens to this show, if you can somehow find that episode and get yourself a transcript now with AI or something like that, or if you speak French, it is one of the best episodes I've ever heard on product design and sensibility. And the guest just has a really good way of describing what you just said, Jerome, which is understanding what you like and then trying to articulate how you like it, basically. And I think a lot of that philosophy, maybe you were designing Serica at the time because it seems like all of those ideas actually came into your watches eventually.
I mean, Jules and I, we share a common appreciation for proper design, obviously. And when I say proper design, it's something that's different, not one of many, but one expression of, again, like personality and singularity are two things that are, I think, very important when it comes to design, right? It's but without ever forgetting that, like, the reason why you do things. I mean, a watch, for example, or a piece of furniture, or so many things. It's any kind of utilitarian piece of design. Let's not forget about the utility. Of course, we all aim to create beauty in a way, to create something different. But if it does not perform as intended in the first place, then you lose everything. Then you're having fun, but you lose yourself in the process. And by staying like very much grounded, by always like going back to the very essence of the reason why you design something, then it's a good way not to get sidetracked, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is that actually Jules is working with us, and he actually designed the boutique that we have, 32 Turel in Paris. And he was the first guy we asked for this particular job because he understands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he brought like a lot of amazing ideas that actually makes this place the first place where you can understand the whole Serica universe and vibe physically.
Yeah. And I think for the audience, it's not so much like I'm not throwing these names out just to throw them out, but I think what comes out of this is that maybe up until a couple of years ago, French watchmaking might have been seen as very closed. And now there's a couple of brands that are being brought out more into the open. And I think that's a good chance for us to talk Chronopolis and just maybe throwing it back to you, Gabriel, in terms of strategy and marketing. How important is it now, because there are blogs, because there is the internet, to actually get out to these shows? And given the fact that right around this time, mid-April, there's not just Chronopolis, there's many others going on.
That's a big one.
Yes. So what was going through your mind? What's the plan in terms of overall marketing strategy, and why specifically this particular one?
Well, it's actually the first time we do an event in Switzerland. It might seem weird because we're very close and we do Swiss watches, but actually, I think we waited for the right moment, but also the right partners to do it. And when the let's say 3 brands that co-organized the show together with the Haste Out team came to us and explained the whole concept, we immediately fell in love with it. Why? Because the concept is great. The name is amazing. The whole thing seems to be one of a kind. And the fact that it's in Switzerland, in Geneva, the same time as Watches in Wonders is both very challenging because bringing people to the show, it's going to be, especially the press and the let's say the business guys from in the Swiss industry. It's going to be tricky, but they made it, and I think that it's for us it was instantly okay. Let's go for it. Marketing wise and business wise, we want to meet as many people as we can. Of course, from the industry, but mainly people that actually want to discover Serica, that has never been the chance to try watches on, and that's why we do so many shows within the year. We've been traveling a lot this past few months. Maybe it shows on our faces, but basically, we've traveled in Asia twice in January and February. We're back from Dallas. We're going to the US, Canada before summer. So it's there's a lot of different shows in the world. And every time we do this kind of event, we understand that trying watches on the wrist, it's essential to feel the product, to see how it fits, to have time actually to share the whole philosophy behind brands, behind the products. So I would say it's very important to do those kind of events, and Geneva is the first. So we can't wait to see, like, hopefully a lot of people coming in, and we want to be busy from 8 to 8. That's the goal, right? It's going to be long days, but the goal is to once again to meet a lot of people and explain Serica to everyone that might be interested in the brand.
And hopefully be overwhelmed by the enthusiasm of Swiss people.
Of course, yeah.
Well, I think just based on my small experience at the last watch show, I think if you're there 8 to 8, that might be a short day for you. So I have no doubts that you will fill your calendars without any issues.
Yeah.
One thing I want to talk about though is Serica is a French watch company, obviously, but how important is, or maybe it isn't, but how important is the French aspect of Serica as a watch company? Is French design something that you think appears in the watches, or are you a watch company that just happens to be based in France?
I would say I'd say both. Of course, we are French. Of course, we are based in Paris, and being, how would I say, being surrounded by all the kind of like beauty, architecture, culture, painting, everything that from birth basically, and living in Paris does necessarily influence our quest to create something singular and beautiful, obviously. Uh, but I wouldn't say French watches. We're a French brand of Swiss watches, as you know. And this is important as well because I mean, the Swiss know how to make watches. You have calibers, architecture, and you kept doing it for the longest time. So even if France is obviously one of the cradle of watchmaking for many years, it has been. It is no longer, or it is in a very different way than it used to be, at least from a manufacturing standpoint. So I do believe that combining the French, je ne sais quoi, maybe that's the word, with the reliability of Swiss craftsmanship. I mean, it's a great way to make watches. You know, bringing together like the creativity, the Not to say that Swiss people are not creative, but it's a different culture, and let's say the Latin and Germanic culture in terms of how we translate many things, a vision, how we translate, I don't know, we express feelings, how we translate everything into design. It's very different. So I think combining both might be a way to find the best of both worlds, in a way.
Yeah. Well, I think the market has clearly seemed to validate that strategy because your watches, have, I think, done very well, and they're certainly very well reviewed. And I think that is a great place to round this interview out. You just released, or I say just, I think your most recent release was a dress watch, which maybe not many people would have expected. So maybe just tell us a few words about that, and if you could maybe not so much spoil any surprises that you might be showing at the show, but at least give us a bit of a hint as to what we might expect.
About the parade, yeah, it's not the latest release, but it's the latest new collection that we introduced last year, and it's true that it did surprise many people because for the first 5 years we very much focused on tool watches, But the idea behind Serica has never been to be a tool watch brand. It's always been to offer our vision of watchmaking through different kinds of watches, pieces, typologies of watches. And of course, we do enjoy the field watches, the dive watches, the GMT, all those romantic tools of the trade. But in this idea to combine the performance and the elegance, it's the exact same thing that we did with the parade. We just flipped things around a little bit, meaning that instead of starting with the very rigid frame of specifications, we did start with the shape, with the elegance, with the finesse, but we did not stop there. Once we had the beautiful, thin, unusual shapes, the beautiful object, we did go the extra mile to try to make it truly convenient, meaning fully automatic, and also reliable on an everyday basis, meaning truly waterproof. And if you combine specifications with this and shape, it's not something that you can find every day. These are not the usual specifications of the dress watch. It's usually something that we all love, we all enjoy, but we found out doesn't get enough wear because of its fragility and its lack of water resistance in many ways. And what we wanted to achieve with the parade was basically nice, dressier shaped, elegant case for every day. We wanted it to be a no-brainer, whether you are on a holiday, whether you get into a boat, whether you're planning on going to the beach, and you can still look sharp because the watch itself can take it, despite the message that it does send visually. So it's something very different from what we have been doing so far prior to the release. It's also very unusual in terms of combination of shape and specifications. It's not something that you do see on the market much. So yeah, it did surprise a lot of people, but we're very happy that a year later, past the surprise, the token piece, the wondering, many more and more people are coming to it. But especially a watch that needs to be put on the wrist, as Gabriel was saying earlier. It's very important to try the watches on the wrist physically, and the parade is one of them. Because you see the shape, you see the specs, you see numbers on the spec sheet, 41 by 35 by 8.2. What does it say? Not much, because of the shape. It's a lugless design. It's fairly unusual. So is it small? Is it big? Is it thin? Is it thick? It's hard to relate until you put it on the wrist. And when you do, I hope that the magic happens. And sometimes it does. Most of the time it does. For me, it does.
So on that point, I presume you'll have plenty of watches to try at the show. Gabriel, will you and Jerome actually be there in person to meet people?
Of course.
We'll be there. I actually just booked the tickets 5 minutes ago. So
fantastic.
So we'll be there with two of our colleagues trying to share time, and we'll come with basically the whole lineup of Serica watches, plus the new release that we presented a few weeks ago, which is 5330, the diver with a date now, and sharing a lot of watches, stories with everyone, of course.
Fantastic. Well, if you guys have 5 or 10 minutes for me, I'll make sure and stop by the booth, and then
Of course,
all of our other listeners can come talk to you guys and try out some watches too.
please do.
We'll find time.
Oh, fantastic. Well, look, all of you listeners out there, I really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real Time Show with Jerome and Gabor from Serica. We're very grateful they could spend some time with us. Thank you all so much.